What's up, family? How you guys doing today? I live in Milky Tech, and my studio just evolved. Welcome back to our third part of building my brother's new PC. In this part, we're gonna go over how to clone over his old SSD to his new NVMe, and we're gonna set the computer up, do a little benchmarking. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, smash that like and hit subscribe. It helps the channel out greatly. So let's get this done. All right, so first thing we want to do is we want to optimize our BIOS. And then afterwards, we're going to need a few things to do the cloning. We're going to need the hard drive that we're going to cloning from. And we're going to need a cable to connect it. Now, you could have just connected it internally, but we do not want to use that SSD afterwards. So we're going to do it externally, where we're going to need the SSD and this dongle here. It is a SATA and SATA power to a USB 3. This way we get the fastest speeds. All right, so let's set up our BIOS. So let's go through our BIOS. So right now we are in our easy mode, and we'll give you like basic data on your CPU and your frequency, your memory, type of storage that you have, fan information. But of course, we don't want an easy mode. Let's hit F7 and go into our advanced BIOS. So now that we're in our BIOS, I like to select in our XMP profile. So we select profile 1. All right, let's go to motherboard settings and look at the system status. If we want to overclock, we can overclock from this setting. This CPU does turbo up to 5.3 gigahertz. Really fast CPU. I don't think you really want to push it anymore, but you can if you would like. And flash if you want to flash, which we'll probably have to do once we get into Windows and download all the updated drivers. Let's go to advanced settings. If you guys mine for cryptocurrency, this motherboard supports it, so you can enable mining here, especially if you have more than 4 gigabytes of memory. It looks like all our settings are really not much we have to change out of the box. This is a cool option. Enabling go to BIOS allows you to enter BIOS directly by holding your power button for a second upon boot. This is great, especially if you're overclocking and you have to get into your BIOS and you just can't get into it because you keep on crashing. This should allow you to get into BIOS so you can fix your setting. I am going to enable this setting. We'll enable the setting later, after we have our system set up. This way it makes it easy to get into BIOS. But with this option on, it shouldn't matter, but better be safe than sorry. Of course, UEFI, and this tells you the boot order of your drives. Well, let's just hit F10. Yeah, so we enabled XMP and we've enabled go to BIOS. Two really good features to enable whenever you are setting up your system, especially for the first time around. Or if you got a pre-built, it's good to go to BIOS to make sure those settings are enabled, if it's available. We're rebooting. Next thing you want to do is connect your SSD to your adapter and then connect it to a USB 3 port. We finally got the SSD to boot. We had to change one setting in the BIOS. We had to switch it from UEFI mode into the old legacy mode. All right, we're finally in Windows. It's time to clone the drive to the M.2. We're not having much luck with cloning the drive. Windows is being very difficult to deal with, especially since we have so much new components. Basically, the whole computer is new, so we're not going to be able to clone the drive over, but we'll be able to back up the drive at a later date since the information is still there. So we're going to just do a clean install of Windows. All right, so looking like we're doing good. We had some issues with XMP not running, but we got that resolved. We just had to switch the RAM sticks to position 2 instead of position 1, and everything seems to work just fine. Also had to do a BIOS reset, but that's not bad. We're in the Windows install, and I'll just sit back and enjoy. And guys, remember, if you want a detailed step-by-step on how to set up your computer from scratch, I will have it linked in the top corner. Let's customize Windows. Finally, we are inside Windows, so let's update it, update all the drivers, and do little customizations. Let's install some essential softwares and our game launchers. Alright guys, so coming up next is our benchmarks, and I'm comparing my personal computer to my brother's brand new computer. I was going to do it against his old computer, but it's pretty unfair to that old i5 and 970. So my computer has a Ryzen 7 2700X and a RTX 2070 Super. Otherwise, pretty similar systems, both have 32 gigs of RAM, and both have 750 watt power supplies. So the first benchmark we're running is Uni-Engine Heaven, and my computer had an average of 62 FPS versus his 79 FPS, and my mins and max are 25 to 122. However, his is 8.8 to 160. Next benchmark we're running is Uni-Engine Valley. I had a minimum FPS of 26 to 116 maximum and an average of 58.6, and my brother had a minimum of 36 to 143 maximum and an average of 75. Next benchmark is Uni-Engine Superposition. My computer had a minimum of 17 FPS to a maximum of 22 with an average of about 20. My brother's had a minimum of 23 to 31 and an average of about 27. Our next benchmark is PC Mark 10. We can see more of the same where his PC crushes my PC by a little bit. For Essentials, I had a score of 66.47 to his 82.83. For Productivity, I had 64.65 to his 98.93. In Content Creation, however, my computer comes pretty close to his with a score of 91.53 to 92.03 and a PC Mark score of 52.52 to his 56.26. Of course, we gotta play at least one game, so we're doing Borderlands 3. For Borderlands 3, I had an average of 48.65 FPS and a frame time of 20.59. He had an average of 62.41 and then a frame time of 16.02. Our next benchmark is Cinebench R23, and as you can see, his CPU just crushes mine. I had a multi-core score of 1023.4 to his 22.342, and my single core is 1098 to his 1892. Alright, so our next benchmark is Crystal Disk Mark. Let's compare both of our M.2 drives. I have a Samsung drive versus his MSI drive, and as you can see, it basically doubles the speed of my hard drive. I have read speeds of 3576 megabytes per second and writes of 2392 megabytes per second, and he's having 7109 megabytes per second and write speeds of 5489 megabytes per second. It's insane. This is just crazy. Our next benchmark is 3D Mark Firestrike. And as you can see, we're getting about a 50% increase in performance in Firestrike Extreme. My computer has scored 11770 to his 15639. This is a fast computer. Next test is 3D Mark Port Royal. And we're seeing more of the same. In Port Royal, his PC is about 30% faster than my PC. I got a score of 6001 to his 7969. Our next test is 3D Mark Time Spy Extreme. My computer scored a 4565 and my brother's computer scored a 6469. Our next test is MSI Combustor. My computer scored 3061 and his computer scored 3609. Our next benchmark is Passmark Performance Test. And we see something really weird. My computer outperformed his computer, which is weird. My computer scored a 6085 and his computer only scored a 2134. But looking closer at the results, it looks like the 2D graphics mark, he scored lower than my computer did. I have a feeling that somehow the integrated graphics took over for the 2D graphics. I'm thinking it's probably the NVIDIA power saving feature where it uses the integrated graphics instead of the dedicated graphics during low loads. So I think that would happen. And lastly, user benchmark. And as we can see here, his computer is from outer space. All UFOs and whew, fast. And there you guys have it. That concludes our 3-part series. We've unboxed all of my brother's computer parts. We've slapped them together and we put some software and some operating system just to make it usable, and then we benchmarked them. So far, my brother is happy, and this is a fast computer. Whew. Makes me kind of jelly. Link for all parts, tools, and videos will be in the description below. If you guys enjoy this type of content, smash that like, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you get notified when I release my next video. If you guys have a question, a comment, or want to say hello, what's up? Drop it in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.